Hi, I just want to say thank you for joining me on this free recording on how to become a tutor. Before we start, I'd like to introduce myself. Some of you may know me from having looked at blogs or things we've done, or from other avenues such as tutoring, or looking into a franchise with us, etc. I started Clara James Tutoring back in 2012. At the time, I had roughly 12 years of experience working in childcare and education. My background was quite varied. It varied between working in mainstream schools to residential hostels with children with extreme autism. Because of personal interests, I had a lot of interest in dyslexia. I've worked as an NVQ assessor supporting adults who are trying to pass their NVQs in early years. I had a successful childminding business. My experience in working in childcare and education is basically fairly extensive. During lockdown, this time of year, in January last year, we decided that we were going to franchise Clara James Tutoring. And then during lockdown, we decided that actually franchising is, if you can afford it, the best way to go, because it offers you every bit of support you could hope for every step of the way through your journey. However, not everyone is in a situation where they can afford that right now. So we decided to put together a course, the ultimate course to tutoring, which I'll tell you more about at the end, and also a membership group for those who are looking to become tutors. So that's basically me and who I am. Let's get on with this first. Let's get on with this first unit. Once we get started, now I've told you about myself, I have tried to condense as much information into the course as possible. I've tried to spare you from too much fluff and filler. So I hope you get a lot of benefit from it. Here's the first unit in our course. Enjoy. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at is, who is your ideal student? Although this sounds like a silly question, it's important to know exactly who your ideal student is, because when you come to do your marketing, you want to be as laser focused as you can to ensure that the person you are sending your marketing out to is actually interested in what you have to offer. So we'll look at that more in a later unit, but first thing you need to think about, and in your own mind you've probably decided this already, but what do they want to learn? What are they looking for a tutor in? Is it going to be something like maths, English, like the things that we offer, or maybe you're looking to tutor a foreign language, or something completely different still, geography, history? That's something that you will know by now what it is that you're wanting to tutor. Again, this probably sounds like a bizarre question, but how old is this person? Because when you start, you want to be as focused as you can, because if you're wanting to, say, support a 5-year-old with maths, or if you're wanting to support maths, there is a huge difference between how you're going to support a 5-year-old and the curriculum that they're learning, and say a 16-year-old GCSE or an A-level student, or maybe even a university student. So you need to be aware of the age of the child so that you can create resources which are suitable, age appropriate and level appropriate. You may decide that after time you are looking to expand on the age group that you initially thought of. I mean, when I started, I was looking to support children in primary school or those who had special needs. We now tutor children who, all the way from reception and key stage 1 all the way through to the end of GCSE, obviously still working with mainstream children, but also children who do have some form of learning difficulty. Moving on from that, you need to know, how do they learn? What I've learned over the years is, what if you do one thing, such as a worksheet, you create a memory. Each time you do something, you're making that each time you do that one thing, you're making the memory stronger, but your brain still only has one place to go to find the information that it needs. So ideally what you need to do is create a range of different resources so that as the child needs to recall that information, they have a whole realm of different places that their brain can go to locate this information. So for example, if we were doing if we were doing the times tables, we might start with a game of snakes and ladders, which, as you can see from the picture, every square has a different question on. We may have a game of bingo. We may do a fishing game, which is it's like a pairs game, but you have a rod with a magnet on the end, and you have to you have to catch the fish with the magnet. We may do a board game. We may do, in fact, we've got a choice of 2 different board games. We've got a game of Connect Four. So you may, for us, that's worked well, having a whole range of different resources, but you may be a different start. You may want to offer a different form of tutoring. Some parents will kind of like say, well, I think my child's too old to learn like this, but we've supported adults who are returning to education through using things like this. Because I also believe, and I've learned over the years, that if you're tense, you're less likely to learn. If you're relaxed, it means that you're more susceptible to absorbing the information that you're being given. So you need to think about how this person does learn. It could be that they're auditory learners, so they hear things through listening. It could be that they're visual learners, so they'd learn things by looking. It could be that they're kinesthetic learners, which means that they would learn by actually getting involved. But the best thing you can do for your students is to offer a range of all sorts of different learning activities, because that way you're more likely to cover the learning style which suits them best. And also by offering variety, you're going to keep the lesson more interesting, and so it will make it easier to keep the student engaged. What's their budget? It could be that you're wanting to charge £40–50 an hour, and that is definitely possible. However, it could be that the parents that you're marketing to have only got a budget of, say, £10–15 an hour. So you need to be able to not cut your prices accordingly, but you need to be focused on on advertising to people who can afford what you want to charge. And if you do want to charge more, I mean, some people are charging near £100 an hour, you need to be able to justify to the parent or to the student why you are in a situation to be able to charge that. So have a think about who it is that you're actually marketing your tutoring services to, and think realistically about then what they can afford. Where do they live? If you're wanting to tutor online, this is of less importance. However, if you're going to be working in a tutoring centre, or you want the students to travel to you, or like we were doing before lockdown, we always travel to the students, you want your marketing to, or the students that you're wanting to support, to live within a fairly confined radius, because you don't want to spend half your day, evening traveling to these people, and likewise they're not going to be willing to travel too far to you. So again, when you're thinking about doing your marketing, think about the geographical location of where these people are going to live, so that you can market to people accordingly. Are they sitting exams? This is possibly more applicable if you're looking at, if you live in an area where you've got the 11 plus, or if you're going to be working with children who are doing SATs, their GCSEs, their A levels, or a university syllabus. Because with the syllabuses such as the GCSE and the A level, the different exam boards can be covering quite different syllabuses. For example, around here, most of the schools do GCSE Edexcel. No, sorry, most of the GCSE English school. Try again. Most of the schools use AQA for their English syllabus, and so they will do an Inspector Calls, Romeo and Juliet, a signer for. Trying to think. Animal Farm, Frankenstein, Jekyll and Hyde, just for example. Whereas if they're studying for for the EdXL syllabus, they could well be covering different books such as A Christmas Carol. So even within one exam board, there is a whole range of books that you're going to have a knowledge of. So if you decide that you're going to be covering different exam boards, you're going to have a far wider knowledge and set of resources to suit the needs of those individual students. Going back to what I said a moment ago about where does the child live, what sort of lesson are you wanting to prepare or provide? Are you going to be doing your lessons online where you don't have things like commuting and you can offer your services to a far larger radius? Or are you going to travel to their home? Obviously, if you're offering the lessons online, it's going to be harder to charge such a premium, and you may find that some students are harder to keep motivated and inspired, whereas if you're sat with them in the comfort of their home, they're more likely to be relaxed, and it's going to be far easier to ask the parents for to charge premium price. Or it could be that you compromise and you ask for the student to come to your property, which again means you don't have the issues with commuting, but because you're expecting more from more of an input from the parents, again, what you're going to be able to charge is going to be capped that little bit lower. And that's the end of... Okay, so that's the end of the first B unit. I hope you've got some valuable information from that, and I look forward to seeing you in Unit 2. Have a great afternoon. If you have any questions, please do feel free to respond to any of the emails I send you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care. Bye.